Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I am going to be showing you guys how I created this black smoky eye I am wearing right here. I posted this on TikTok and it just blew up faster and bigger than I ever thought it would. There was so many, hundreds of you guys asking for a tutorial, so I am really happy to finally get this up for you guys, and I hope and pray that you guys will tag me in your recreations because I would love to see them and all of your guys' beautiful faces. So please don't forget to tag me on Instagram or TikTok. I did alter this look a little bit from what I put on TikTok. I knocked out the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Volume 1 palette and just used other colors out of the Born to Run and Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette just to make it a little bit easier for you guys. I will leave all the details of the products I used for this entire look in the description box, and I just want to say thank you guys all again so much for your support and all of the sweet kind comments. I really hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and let's get started. The first palette we're going to go into is the Morphe x Jaclyn Hill, the Volume 2 palette. The first shade you're going to go into is Love Handles, and I'm using a M535 brush. We're going to start this in the crease using back and forth motions from inner to outer corner. Once you get all that pigment in there, then use circular motions to blend that out up towards your eyebrow. Going to go into the Born to Run palette by Urban Decay, and we're going to take this shade here, Riff, on an M518 brush. With this shade you're going to start this in the crease using back and forth motions, and then use circular motions to buff this up onto the brow bone, not going as far as that Love Handles shade. Now I'm going to pick up this shade here called Still Shot on a clean 535 brush, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of that shade and we're going to kind of stamp and fluff it right on the brow bone, kind of where those two colors met, and just kind of blur that line. But you're also going to add a little bit of that pink tone in there. For the lid, you're going to take this shade here, Drift, on an M433 brush. I'm going to spray this with the Morphe Mattifying Continuous Mist Setting Spray. I absolutely love this to spray the shimmers onto my brush. Something about this setting spray just locks the shadow into the brush. I mean, I've used other setting sprays and they work, but something about this mattifying one just really makes the shadow stick onto the brush and I hardly get any fallout. So try this one if you guys are still noticing you're getting quite a bit of fallout with those shimmer shades and the setting spray you're using. So now I'm going to tilt my mirror upwards. I'm going to look my head upwards, but I'm going to look my eyes down into the mirror, exposing my entire eyelid. We're going to start by patting and stamping this on the eyelid. And I did go all the way into the inner corner. With this shade, I am keeping it on the eyelid, and then I come up into that low crease area, kind of like a cut crease. It's kind of like a cheap version on doing a cut crease without having to do all that concealer work. Now you're going to let this just sit for a minute just so all the moisture on your eye can dry. I do wipe this brush off onto a makeup towel so the brush is a little bit more dry so there's no moisture left in it, and then we're going to start blending it out. Alright, so it's been a couple of minutes, so what I'm going to do is just take this same 433 brush, and I'm just going to start here on the inner corner and just lightly fade and buff out this line. And I'm just kind of doing a little flick motion upward. Now I'm going to grab an M441 brush and I'm going to go into the shade Riff again. And we're just going to kind of stamp this on that line, get the product in there, and then I'll start working in those circular motions to blend it out. Now grabbing an M535 brush, I'm going back into this shade Still Shot. We're going to grab a little bit of that, and again we're just going to be lightly stamping that right there on the brow bone and just kind of flicking it upward to help blend that out and just fade that line. Now we're going to use an M513 brush and we're going to go into the shade here called Temptress. Tap off the extra just because this is a black color. It does blend out really, really easy. What I'm going to do is just start stamping this here in the outer corner. On the lid, I go about 1/3 of the way in, and then later I do blend this about halfway on the crease. And again, just work with small amounts of this shade. Now that you have that black shade on there, we're going to blur the lines with this shade here called Good As Gone. And we're using an M573 brush to do that. I kind of take it on the side of this brush and then just stamp it in there as well, going over all the lines. And this will also just help soften this just a little bit on those edges, which will also make everything look nice and blurred and blended. On the same 573 brush, I'm going to grab a little bit of this shade here called Next. And it adds just in like a nice, pretty like plumish pinky color because you're not using too much. I'm just kind of stamping and patting that there on that outer corner. And then bring it on into the crease and inner corner. Grabbing a little bit more of that Temptress, we're just going to smack that here on the outerest corner. Now I'm going to use an M330 and grab a little bit more of that shade Drift. This brush is more for like a pointy blending brush, but I like it because it is pointy so I can get right up in this inner corner when I want to touch everything up. And it goes on nice precisely where I want it. And I just use like the side of the brush instead of like the tip. I'm using just the side. I'm going to start on the lower lash line and I'm taking a mix of the shades Riff and Love Handles. And I'm using an M506 brush for that. And I'm just going to start here on the outer corner. Small little side to side motions. Going opposite with my eye and just buffing this out on the lower lash line from inner to outer corner. Grabbing the 518 brush, I'm taking some of the shade Still Shot, and I'm just going to buff this in on the lower lash line as well, from inner to outer corner. With every shade on this outer corner, you're always going to want to blend it into your eyeshadow just so that there's no disconnect here in this outer corner, and everything right here just meets and blends. I'm going to use the 506 brush again to grab the shade Drift, and I'm going to try to get this just on the tip of this brush so it doesn't get out of hand when I'm putting it on my lower lash line. Okay, and I'm just going to start this on the very inner corner. If you aim this shade right at your lash line, that will also help it not get too far down on your eyelid, well, on your lower lash line. Now we're going to go into that Temptress shade, which is the black shade. A small amount again. You're going to bring this over about halfway. And then you're also going to start blending this outward to create the shape and connect this with the eyeshadow. Now we're going to use the M573 brush and grab a little bit more of that Good As Gone shade. And we're going to buff out this outer corner. Just gonna follow the entire lower lash line, just blurring those lines together. I'm going to take the 535 brush, grab a little bit of that Still Shot shade, and we're going to run this along that lower lash line on the bottom to blur the line down here as well, and add a little bit of that pink shade. Now grabbing the 518 brush, I'm going into the shade Perfectionist here. And we're gonna grab a little bit on the tip of that brush and we're going to add that and blur this down here. Using a clean 506 brush, I'm taking the shade Breakaway for the inner corner highlight. And I'm using just a small amount of that and just swirling it around on the inner corner. And then I'll just kind of pat it down here to start blending it into the lower lash line. And then also up into that inner corner pocket there. And then just kind of dust it around, make sure everything's nice and blended. And now to brighten up the inner corner a little bit more, I'm going to mix these two shades here, which is Certified and I'm in It. And we're just gonna grab a little bit of those shades and put them on the very, very inner corner. Alright you guys, and that concludes the shadow portion of this look. Let me go ahead and finish up my face, lashes, and lip, and I'll come back and show you guys everything all wrapped together as one. Alright you guys, and I am back now with the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please leave me any requests or questions in the comments below and I will get back to you guys. If you guys like this tutorial, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already and you want to. I would super appreciate it. Thank you guys all again so much for the love and support and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!